This is a truth that I haven't shared with anyone but a few close people in my circle because this story is so deep and intimate and painful. But the beginning started out really beautiful. I was in love with a man for 13 years. I met him in high school. We were really good friends, and then we began dating shortly after graduation. I was 18 years old, and essentially, I spent all of my 20s and the top of my 30s with this person. And he really taught me a lot about being in a monogamous relationship, informed what I wanted as a woman. Sometimes that was him, and sometimes it wasn't him. But when it was really sweet. I was in love. We were together for a long time. And right around my mid 20s, we decided that we wanted to have children. I mean, we were together. We figured we were going to be together for the rest of our lives. And we didn't want ceremony or paperwork or other people's opinions or approval to dictate starting the family that we wanted. But it wasn't easy like we thought it would be. I had 6 miscarriages. And the worst was an ectopic pregnancy that I experienced while I was teaching school in Baltimore, Maryland. My guy was a military guy, so he was enlisted in the Air Force, and at the time, he couldn't save up enough leave to come. It was sensitive and critical. My brother had started a new job. My father's cancer came back, and my mother had to tend to him. And my friends didn't have enough money for the emergency trip. So not only did I lose my baby, I had to go through all of that alone. What was lovely in our relationship in the beginning started to dissolve and there was dissension. For me, being in love is like having a sweet piece of candy in your mouth. You're smiling and you're happy and you're hyper, but that sweetness began to sour. And towards the end of our relationship, there was a lot of infidelity. And I thought maybe it was because of my infertility or me putting too much pressure on him for wanting more. The straw that broke the camel's back was that the man I was in love with for nearly half of my life got another woman pregnant. I was so angry. A part of me was angry because he was deceptive. Here we are going back and forth trying to make the best decisions for our relationship, and he had a whole nother relationship. He had another woman who was carrying his child. There was a part of me that had a slight bit of happiness because I knew he wanted children, and that was something that I hadn't been able to do for him. And at that point, I was done, so I was like, go forth and be free. But there was another part of me that was extremely angry with myself, and I was feeling inadequate. Yes, I was mad because of the cheating and the lies, but I was angry at myself because this woman was able to give him something that I couldn't. He wanted a child, but that was something that I couldn't do for him. I had this conflict, this turmoil about my womanhood and motherhood because I've had so many miscarriages. Feeling like it was my fault because I do have endometriosis and I do have fibroid tumors and I did have dysplasia and I have had half of my cervix removed and I've had all of these surgeries on my womb. It just affected me in a very negative way. And I couldn't wrap my mind around that I couldn't procreate with someone I intended to have children with. So my story of motherhood is not breastfeeding on the porch or sipping lemonade like I imagined or holding my baby's hand as we walk across the street or all these other milestones that even at 36 some of my contemporaries are experiencing. My lens of motherhood comes from the desire to have children, and it hasn't happened for me yet. So I wrote this poem that talks about my infertility and my insecurities and how I've just started to ask those questions and begin to cope. My eggs still drop, but ain't I a woman if nothing hatches? I bat my lashes to push back the tears, but they fall anyway, recounting every baby that passed. But ain't I a mother if I miscarried my children? It's confusing. Can't celebrate the woman who made me when she rejects me. Can't celebrate the mother I am when my babies are dead. But I ain't standing over no grave. I have to be kinder to my eggs. One day I looked in the mirror and asked, have you told your body today that she will bear a child? My answer was no, but from that day forward, I tell myself you will give birth. Your babies will be healthy. Your love for them will mend every open wound. I say it and I mean it. But if babies never come, ain't I still a woman if my dreams don't come true? I'm not in a celebrating mood, but my eggs still drop every other cycle of the moon. My hopes still hang in her fertile crescent, my face still reflecting full, even in her waxing and waning. I weep for my babies. But ain't I a mother too?